Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes with the fellas. The fellas are here today. Hello, Chris Paul. How are you?
What up?
What up?
And Mr. Lowdown. How are you?
What up, Sybil? That's
How
the
y'all
new
doing?
stuff. What up?
How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good, Sybil. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are things? Tell me what's new in your world.
Things are good. You know what? You start off every show Monday asking us. We want to know about you. How are you doing, Sybil?
How are you, Sybil?
I am good. I'm good. I had a low-key weekend, trying to stay cool and actually doing a little bit of stuff, but not much of anything. So
Okay.
I'm
How's
good.
the weather?
Thank you.
How's the weather there?
Hot. It's still hot.
How hot is it?
Today, let's see, where are we now? We're looking at 100.
That's all.
Huggy, you know when a woman says she had a low-key weekend, the question is, who was he?
Who was
Low-key. I had a low-key weekend.
Who was Mr. Low Key?
Yeah.
Low-key.
You ask. We'll talk about that some other time.
That's that Marvel. That's that off live Marvel talk. Low-key.
Like Idris and the lion came over. I know you women are not going to pay to see Idris fight a CGI lion.
No.
What are you talking about, Chris?
His new movie, bro. His new movie. He's like stuck out in not the jungle, but one of those safari things with some big giant killer lion.
So they did the whole remake of Leonardo DiCaprio with the bear. What was the name of the bear? The bear.
He won an Oscar for that.
It was named The Bear. The movie was called The Bear, wasn't it?
Was it?
It was something like that.
It did win an Oscar to that. Leonardo DiCaprio got an award also.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You said the bear won the Oscar. No, but Idris is stuck out there in one of those safari things with his two daughters, bro, and he's got to protect them from this humongous lion for 90 minutes.
It's like, and I want to say it's a Will Packer production.
It is.
If I want to see somebody protect their two daughters from something, I go to Sesame Place.
That lion won't even hug you, those daughters.
Oh. Well, I did not go to I still haven't really gone back to the movies, Huggy. Have you?
No. I saw Nope.
You saw Nope, because a friend of mine said they saw it on their laptop.
Huggy's still being cautious. When he was at Nope, every time somebody tried to sit next to him, what did you say?
Nope. Hell no.
Did you enjoy it?
I liked it.
You did.
A whole lot of people don't like the movie for some reason.
No, you're the first person I think that I've talked to personally that has enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see it, Chris?
No, I have not seen it.
Are you going to go and see it, Chris?
No, I haven't been to the movie theater in years. My daughter keeps trying to get me to go to the movies with her. I don't know. It's just about being closed up in there with people. I'm not ready for it. Now with the monkeypox?
Not the pox too. First we had the vid, now we got the pox.
I'm in the dark eating popcorn. I could be eating somebody's monkeypox. You can't tell between popcorn and monkeypox in a dark theater.
Oh, gross. Oh, God. Now you just turned me off of even any thought of going back into the movie theater.
Nestle Crunch, you can forget it.
Not the Nestle Crunch.
Right. You accidentally think
the bunch of crunch.
Like, that better be Nestle Crunch and not your damn hand.
Oh, Lord.
Right, it's horrible. This shit is serious. Excuse my language. It's serious.
And it really is, and to see it as it's spreading, a number of cities, including Chicago, New York, and I want to say Los Angeles, they've all declared it an outbreak in those particular towns. So they've had hundreds of cases reported in each of those cities, and it's kind of scary. It really is.
Washington D.C. has a lot of cases too. They were letting everybody get 2 shots in D.C., but now they don't have enough shots, so they're limiting everybody to just 1 right now. Yeah,
the same thing in New York City, from what I understand too. and places where there are a lot of gay populations, but it's not just about gay people.
Right.
It's anybody can get this. If you come in close contact, they say clothing, bed linens, anything like that can happen. So
Yeah, they're saying make sure when you go to the mall, you gotta wash the clothes before you wear them because somebody with monkeypox could have tried on those jeans.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
What about when you're traveling and staying in hotels and stuff?
You might want to take your own.
Wow.
You might want to take your own stuff there.
This life just ain't safe, y'all.
I'm telling you.
That is so crazy, man.
But none of us are going to get out alive anyway.
Do they have a monkeypox vaccine? What is the?
There is a vaccine.
There's a vaccine.
There is a vaccine.
It is. No side effects, none of that?
Not. Okay, let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. Coy Malone is not with us today.
Coy.
She's traveling. She's on the road. But we do want to talk about her story. And
can you tell us exactly where she is for all of her stalkers who are watching right now?
Well, she's currently doing the P-Valley on Ice tour.
Good reviews, though.
Okay. The police department in Kenley, North Carolina, the entire police department, but it's Kenley, North Carolina, so you're looking at like maybe a half dozen officers, have resigned after a Black woman took over as the city manager.
Wow.
The cops resigned because they didn't want to take orders from a Black woman.
Wow. Well, that's how you get rid of them.
The police chief and 5 officers and 2 town clerks resigned 2 months after Justine Jones became the new city manager. The Black woman had to take in.
She Black.
Justine Jones. All 8 resignation letters cited similar reasons, including a hostile work environment. She came in to start giving us tasks and all these projects all the time. We only have 5 officers, and I was working double shifts at the time trying to keep up with officer safety. And there were these officers in case something happened, said the former police chief Gibson, who also blamed her for the resignations in a now private Facebook post.
She needs to go ahead and deputize all her cousins.
Right?
That'll change their minds.
That'd be dope, bro.
That would be, how cool would that be, Chris? Okay, y'all fired. I want cousin Leroy. I want Uncle so-and-so. I want Reggie,
Bernard.
Right.
That's actually that's a good plot, right? That's a good plot for either a TV show or a movie. Yeah.
It really is. That's a great idea.
They all quit, so she just has to get her family to pitch in.
Right.
And don't have to worry about handing out weapons or anything. They bring their own.
Grandma's working the switchboard.
Thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, grandma's on the switchboard.
They can be licensed. I'm sorry. So so I sound racist because I just assumed that they were illegal firearms.
Right. I'm talking. All their stuff is legal. She got them straight.
And that's a cool plot, Chris. And
I love that.
You get grandma
get they stuff together with this job opportunity.
Yeah.
You get grandma on the switchboard, and you get that woman who's popular right now.
Don't put grandma on the switchboard.
the older lady who's popular right now in viral videos.
The cussing grandma. Yeah.
Put her on the switchboard.
What do you want?
Right.
Is this my boyfriend?
You shouldn't marry his ass in the first. You knew what you was expecting. Don't tell me to hash.
That would be awesome. People would just be calling to talk to her all the time.
Right.
Yep. I think that is a brilliant idea, Christopher Paul. I really do. I think
hilarious.
That is absolutely brilliant.
That is hilarious, bro.
But we're looking at racism, and one local white resident says she feels they don't want a Black woman basically managing them and telling them what to do. And she said the police department often harasses Black residents. So, this is a good thing. And I say we call up. I'm not sure who's going to answer, but I say we call up the city manager, Justine Jones, and put Chris on the phone and say we have a great idea.
Yeah.
I guess that's a block in the face.
This reminds me of another story. I can't remember all the details right now, but I know it's some small town that has only two schools in. I'm sure you know the story, Sybil. It's like 2 schools. They hired a Black superintendent,
Mm-hmm.
and the one school was all white and the other one was all black, and all she did was try to bring the standard of the black school up to be the same as the white school.
Yep.
And the entire city turned on her.
Yep.
Wow.
And cost her job. All she was doing was saying, you guys get brand new textbooks. The black school should get brand new textbooks. You guys have electricity that works and air conditioning. Right. The other school should. And people threw a fit.
That was the worst thing you could possibly suggest.
She didn't ask for more or better.
Nope.
Just the same. And so they ended up, she's suspended right now still.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, I think she is still suspended. Absolutely.
And that's a crazy world we live in. Bro.
These would be great people for us to talk to as well. I want to hear their story, but I want to get the city manager, Miss Jones, on so that you can make that suggestion and we can get some things happening. They're in Kenley, North Carolina. If anybody knows
where's Kenley?
I don't have the whereabouts. I just have the name of the city, but I promise you, we'll look it up. And if anybody knows Kenley, please send us a message right now.
Well, you could try to look it up. Google will be like, what? What? What is Kenley?
What's a Kenley?
What's a Kenley?
I do want to follow up on a story that we did last week, Chris, and you asked about it. This was the T-Mobile data breach suit, the $350 million settlement. Mm-hmm. And when T-Mobile was hacked in 2021, the court filings indicated data of more than 76 million people was exposed. Exactly how many people were hacked is what you asked, and how were they impacted is unclear. T-Mobile has claimed only about 850,000 people's names, addresses, and PINs were compromised. Only. But we do have the fact that they're saying that of these 850,000 may be getting this $350 million settlement. Is that crazy? Does that only?
I imagine there's still people out here who just don't believe in all the technology that we enjoy every day. There are people who still won't use smartphones, people who still don't want to mess with debit cards, or because they don't trust it.
Right.
Bro, I met a guy. He says he has none of that, bro. Computer, cell phone, and he was like a real estate lawyer, older white gentleman.
So he does things by fax?
He says his son is in security in England somewhere, and he has some high security job, and he was like, they can follow you anywhere, like. Yes.
So is it like that commercial? What's the commercial? Have you seen the commercial with the family? They're still, on the wired phone out of the kitchen, and they have the daughters talking on a cordless phone. Can you hear me now? Yeah. In the front yard and things like that. There are people like this gentleman, Huggy. Wow. I bet you, and he's living in a city probably, but there are people who are legitimately off the grid.
Poolsville, Maryland.
That sounds like a cool place.
I'm sitting on 10 acres. That's okay. That's all walking.
He's still taking a magazine in the bathroom with him.
Rolled up.
Okay. All right. So let us talk about the recent losses that we have had, and a sad day for the newsletter, reporting on the deaths of trailblazers in their own right. Mm-hmm. The first that came down was, of course, about the great Bill Russell, just an incredible basketball player, coach, and human being.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, people like to argue about who's the GOAT in basketball, and I guess they don't include Bill Russell because the era he was in and the lack of highlights showing that stuff like you see Michael Jordan and LeBron doing. He wasn't that kind of player, but everyone agrees. And yesterday they made it official. He is the greatest winner in the history of professional sports.
Yeah.
The greatest winner in the history of professional sports. Let me pull it. I'm trying to pull up what the stat that I retweeted about him yesterday. Bill Russell played 21 winner-take-all games in his career. That was in the NBA, Olympics, and NCAA tournament.
Wow.
He played 21 winner-take-all games. His record, 21-0.
My man.
Wow.
And 10 of those were NBA Game 7s. And in them, he played 488 out of 495 minutes and averaged 29.3 rebounds a game. Bro, dude was getting 30 boards a game.
Bro. He
They
didn't
don't
mail
make
it
them
in,
like
bro.
that. No.
And they didn't have cushion in shoes back then.
No.
They had nothing for their arches
They were out there like David and Goliath. They were like sandals and whatnot.
Right.
Feet
and he was performing in one of the most racist cities
right.
in the world.
And in the smallest basketball shorts ever. Right? That tall.
Oh yeah, he was always getting loose ball fouls.
Yeah. On himself, bro.
And he not only did his thing on the court, but we were talking about the other things. He was out there early with Reverend King, with Dr. Martin Luther King. He was out there supporting Muhammad Ali, and he was doing this in a city they didn't like him. They would take the victories, but they did not like this black man who was bringing all this greatness to the city of Boston.
And I saved it. We're talking about how racist Boston was. I saved this quote I saw yesterday from his daughter.
Yes.
His daughter said, "One night we came home from a 3-day weekend and found we had been robbed. Our house was in shambles and nigga was spray painted on the walls. The burglars had poured beer on the pool table and ripped up the felt. They had broken into my father's trophy case and smashed most of his trophies. Wow. I was petrified, shocked at the mess. Everyone was upset. The police came in after a while. We went to my parents, pulled back their bed covers to discover burglars had defecated on their bed."
Wow. Yep.
And then she went on to say that every time they left town, neighbors would knock over their trash cans. And Bill Russell went to the police. The police told him they were raccoons. He said, "Well, where do I get a gun permit to take care of these raccoons?" And his trash cans were never messed with again.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, this is what this guy had to live with, man.
Wow.
A grown, successful superstar was dealing with this in a town where this was crazy. Right. This man brought 11 championships to your city.
He was doing more for that town, than those races, bro.
Right.
Oh my God! Put them on the map for till the end of time. Right. For what he did with the 11 championships in 13 years, and 2 of those championships as the first Black head coach of a major U.S. sports team.
I heard so many great stories about Bill Russell yesterday, including one about Wilt Chamberlain, because he and Wilt Chamberlain would always go head to head. And Bill Russell only cared about winning. So Bill Russell's team would always beat Wilt Chamberlain's team. But when the game was in hand, Bill would let Wilt score because he needed Wilt Chamberlain to walk away from the game feeling good about himself.
Right.
He didn't want him to be demoralized. And, he wanted Wilt Chamberlain to know you are the man. So he would, if we're already winning by 20, he's going to let Wilt score 10 points in a row. Just so he could walk away feeling good.
How incredible. Who thinks like that?
Which means he knew he was a selfish mother.
Well,
so what? You scored 100. and won the damn game.
And you should see the babes I got back at the hotel waiting for me.
60 in the bed.
But just an incredible human being. Just incredible.
You could tell how the great speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
He mentored so many great players. I mean, another story was, we all know the famous play where the Detroit Pistons, when they lost to Boston in the playoffs, is when Isaiah threw that ball away at the end. They had it. He just had to inbounds the ball. Isaiah Thomas threw it in. Larry Bird stole it, scored. Celtics win the series. The next day, Isaiah Thomas's wife, Isaiah Thomas is not speaking to anybody. He's not returning any calls. She tells her husband, "You got to take this call." He said, "I'm not talking to nobody." She said, "Oh no, you got to take this call." It was Bill Russell.
Yeah.
And Bill Russell got on the phone and said, "Young man, you need to get your ass up and get back out there and let them know who you are." We're talking about somebody who just lost to his Celtics.
That's right.
He called Isaiah. That's just how he was, man.
That's the kind of man he was. And I don't know that there will be another in our lifetime. And I hope that I know that he was rewarded and awarded a lot. But I hope that he got the flowers that he deserved in this lifetime, because
he set the bar. He set the bar in sports.
Hearing you tell all these stories, Chris, is just, this is something we should have been doing all along.
Right. Right.
And we did not have a chance to talk about the great Nichelle Nichols, who was the trailblazing actress on Star Trek, but perhaps at another time we will, as we continue to talk about a number of other issues. So we need to move to our question of the day: what's really going on? So the question is, are we really seeing more acts of racism, or is social media the reason that we see and hear so much about these various events? And I have several examples. And if people also want to, Chris, you gave us a great example of the school superintendent and being fired because she was just trying to bring some equality between the two schools, between the white school and the black school. But I do have some examples of recent racism or calling something a racist act. So let's start with this first one. And I thought about you, Chris, and Huggy immediately with the Kyler Murray contract. Kyler Murray, the young quarterback for the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. And when he got this, what is he like? Only second highest contract, only behind Green Bay quarterback Chris. This particular contract that he just got had a clause in it which required him to study film for 4 hours a week.
Right.
And and people are like, what's up with that? That is what that looks like, as you're saying, the black quarterbacks
don't have the IQ of the,
and is not doing the work.
Right.
Not doing the work.
Wow.
People like Warren Moon came out and others. And so they first put it in the contract. He signed the contract, and then they got so much heat about it, the homework clause in the contract with the Cardinals, that they pulled it out because people were calling it racist. And the franchise paid him almost $250 million.
Even Kyler Murray had to have a little press conference and and he had to speak on how ridiculous is it to think that he could be at this level as an NFL quarterback and not study film. Right. And not study film.
Right.
And you think about the other side of it, how ridiculous is it for us to believe that team would pay him that amount of money and he's stupid.
Right.
And he doesn't study.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
So Warren Moon said he was on with TMZ. He said the racism was the motive behind Arizona putting the homework clause in the contract. He said it's a slap in the face for all African-American quarterbacks, something we've always accused of on the day when they didn't let us play, saying we were lazy, that we didn't read, that we couldn't read the routes, that we couldn't be leaders, and we weren't smart, and all those different things just kind of surface when we put those things to bed. So yes, it's very embarrassing. So is it possible that where would this come from, Chris? Where would this homework clause come from?
There had to come from somebody in the organization.
Yeah.
I know it was a long negotiation process to come to that dollar figure, and it may just be a matter of them just wanting to add extra sauce to it. If we're going to pay you this money, it makes us feel better putting this on. Maybe they also did want to embarrass him some. The last time we saw him last year in the playoffs, it was a horrible game.
Right.
He had a horrible game. And what's unfortunate about it, even though they took that clause out, you have now attached this to this man.
Yeah,
you have now.
That's cemented. That's
right. Every mistake he makes on the field now, and all quarterbacks make mistakes. Even your great Tom Brady makes mistakes, but nobody. When Tom Brady throws an interception, nobody says, "Oh, he didn't look at no film, did he?" Anytime Kyler Murray throws an interception or messes up, everybody's gonna be like, "Man, this dude don't study."
You got to go back to the classic, back to the film.
Crowds, bro. You know the crowds, bro.
Right.
You know the fans are gonna be just all over it, bro.
Right.
schoolwork,
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
time to watch the films.
we don't have that luxury.
We don't. Other acts of racism or alleged racism. Obviously, we've heard this story over the last couple of weeks, and this is regarding the family that has filed the $25 million lawsuit over Sesame Place character snub of Black children. It was filed against the SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment, the parent company of Sesame Place, after the Baltimore family claimed 4 costume characters deliberately ignored their daughter and other Black visitors. This occurred during a meet and greet at Sesame Place, where Quentin Burns and his family paid to have a one-on-one interaction with Elmo, Ernie, Telly Monster, and Abby Cadabby. The 4 employees portraying the characters referred in the lawsuit as John Doe's 1 through 4 allegedly snubbed his daughter after giving explicit attention to the white visitors. So they paid for the one-on-one, and they still did not give the little girl the attention that they paid for.
I mean, even with those facts, that you just read, it's amazing to me how many Black people I've seen on social media all siding with, why do we make everything about race? You're going to actually try and sue over this?
Right.
Everything is not about being Black. Y'all are victims. I'm like, you guys just don't get it.
What do you need to see?
But you don't understand the importance. You don't understand the things that we can do today and the privileges we have that were based on lawsuits filed by other people in the past. So maybe
the freedoms that we have right now.
Right. Maybe this family won't win this lawsuit. Maybe they'll win and not get any monetary damages. But Sesame Place knows they need to act right now. So now the next
you mean the next Stephanie's Place. Yeah, Stephanie's Place.
The next black children that go there might not get disrespected and be made to feel less than.
Right.
Because of this lawsuit.
And the hiring of their employees.
Right.
And the hiring and how they train these people.
Right.
And how they train these people. Now there's a latest one with Chuck E. Cheese. Did y'all see this one?
No.
Chuck E. Cheese accused of snubbing a little Black girl at a party in New Jersey. A mother posted a video, she says, shows a costume Chuck E. Cheese character ignoring her 2-year-old daughter during a birthday party. In the video, Chuck E. Cheese high fives white children standing on a stage, but doesn't respond to the toddler who's excitedly jumping up and down.
Wow.
July 30th at Chuck E. Cheese in Wayne, New Jersey, my 2-year-old was racially discriminated against. As you can see, he gives all the white kids high fives and purposely ignored my Black baby. When confronted, he ignored me as well. Now, you're going to ignore my baby and then you're going to ignore me? This is, come on.
I would be pulling the heads off those
You don't pull it off. One good uppercut will make that head go flying, bro.
We old school as hell. A rock'em sock'em robot.
A good uppercut. That's all I'm calling for.
I haven't been to Chuck E. Cheese in so many years, but and Huggy, you have a daughter, but you don't know the pressure as a father when you take your young sons to Chuck E. Cheese. You're like, please don't let my son cry when Chuck E. Cheese comes over here. You see all these little kids, Chuck E. Cheese. Because Chuck E. Cheese is freaking huge. He's a big rat.
He's a big rat.
He's almost as big as a New York City rat. He comes over to the kids and they start crying. I'm like, please don't let my punk ass sons cry.
You know you got hood ass kids when they come in there. You snitch!
So the manager made excuses for Chuck E. Cheese and the girl's mother. Yeah. And in subsequent tweets, the mom said the manager told her the individual in the costume didn't see her daughter. How you not going to see this little baby girl, 2 years old? I don't care how short she is, but you're high-fiving. And this child is excited and doing all of, Chucky, yeah, you're the cool rat. And you're just going to walk right past her.
We're actually regressing as a country when... How many weeks now has the theme been Black Children Matter?
Yeah.
Wow. You're right.
Yep.
So many.
Yep. And I bring up also in this, and we want to hear from people, who are watching and listening to us, and if you have some examples of this, or if you agree or disagree with us, I'd love to hear. But I love the discussion, and it's how we started, which was with Coy's story. The entire white police department in this North Carolina town quit because they refused to take orders from a Black woman. And as Chris said, the school superintendent, who has been put on suspension because all she wanted was equality between the white school and the Black school. And you don't see it?
Right.
Yeah. Well, social media is so important because we probably would never hear of these stories.
Right.
All these towns, right?
But I can't honestly say that I believe racism is more now because we're more informed. Because come on, we got to know how bad. What would social media look like in this country in the 30s, 40s, and 50s? It would be people driving past any town in the South and people hanging from trees.
Right.
Right.
It's just So it's been consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been consistent in this country.
Yeah.
And then it's been suppressed because people they want to maintain a certain level of decorum and not scare people. They want to be quietly racist at home. But now after Trump took office, people,
everybody's blazing. Yeah. Now, you're right. You're right, bro.
Right.
The brakes are off.
And now they're trying to create laws to say you can't come a certain distance in recording the wrong, the wrongdoings of these police officers.
And early on in Trump, you notice people were trying to go down the Trump highway and do racist stuff, and we see them get fired from their jobs. Right. You don't hear people getting fired from their jobs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people can actually do racist stuff. Right. They can be Karens and go off in restaurants and stuff, and still keep their employment now.
Right.
You know, at first they would have a Black Republican or Black co-worker, somebody that would do the dirty work for them.
Right.
Now they scaled that all the way. Oh, we don't need you.
Exactly.
We free to say what we want to say.
And what they're gonna do.
Right.
What are they going to do?
Right.
This is a scary time, and especially as you mentioned, the juxtaposition of the whole Trump era. Then we go into lockdown, into isolation, and now that we're coming back out again, and people are being meaner than ever.
Yeah. For no reason at all.
It boggles the mind.
People really hate themselves. So that's what it is.
So Huggy, that is it.
That's exactly what it is.
One of the big problems we have in Texas, and I know in other states as well, but the school board
Texas
elections are
terrible. So that's y'all new slogan. Texas is terrible.
It's gonna get better. You watch this election, but a lot of people are running for the school board because they don't like what's being taught in the schools. And of course, they're talking about and how we want to do away with the Civil War conversation because it makes their kids feel bad, and they don't see that as racist. They see that as taking care of their children, wanting to help their kids get through this horrible time.
What the hell?
it's
Wow.
What's that slogan again, Huggy?
Texas is terrible. You gotta say terrible.
You have to say terrible.
You gotta say terrible.
Yeah.
TURBLE. Terrible, like Hershey. Terrible.
Oh God. Oh God.
Say like Huckweed. Terrible.
Like who?
Huckweed.
Huckweed.
I absolutely like it. I want to, sometimes social media can be the bane of people's existence. But I think in this case, as we have demonstrated with these various stories, that they really have helped put a spotlight on this. And I'm wondering if this will continue. And Chris, will people ever get the message?
The problem is, so much has gone wrong for so many people over these past couple of years, from pandemic to recession to gas prices to grocery bills skyrocketing. And the tendency is just to blame people. And who's easier to blame for your problems than people who don't look like you?
Right.
Or take it out on a people.
Take it out on them, right.
Take it out on them, right.
Yep.
And they don't understand, these racists don't understand that if everybody of color, if everybody who was homosexual or transgender, if everybody did leave this country, you guys would end up killing yourselves.
Right.
You guys would all turn on yourselves. You will see that you are the monsters.
Yep. Turn that mirror around.
Right.
Turn that
Chris
mirror
Paul's
around.
new documentary, You Are the Monster.
All right, guys, thank you for participating. I like the discussion, and I think it's something that we need to continue to put the spotlight on, and thank the folks that also give us these tips, and as well as bring the stories to light on social media. All right, gentlemen, it's time to talk trending topics, and let us start with
Oh, wow.
Oh, look, you got to give us
sorry, Gail, artist on Facebook. Wow, she
said,
put Miss
wow.
Nichelle Nichols on the back burner to talk about this.
Nichelle Nichols.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, look, so you better start talking about that lady.
I guess so. All of YouTube says, Paja on YouTube says, all this talk about overpaid football player, you don't have time for Miss Nichols. You shouldn't close this program today without paying tribute to this woman. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
You didn't say you weren't going to talk about.
I
know.
Said
we were pushing it back in the show.
They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it. But that's okay. That's all right. Some people just want to complain. So okay, sorry. And we'll
we
still
going us, Sybil. We going us.
Well, how was the weekend show there, Chris?
Oh, it was great, man. George Wilborn is hilarious. First of all,
you just said George, bro.
George Wilborn is hilarious. Joe Clare is hilarious. Ronnie Jordan was hilarious. It was a great show. Marsha Warfield came by and performed. Yeah,
they wouldn't let me in. I was at the door. I was like, nah, they wouldn't let me in.
Seriously?
Yeah, I came all the way out there to see Chris.
I heard you out there. They said, we are not letting you bring that white woman in here with you. At this black show.
And that was my neighbor.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you mean Mrs. Convenience you were telling me about. Mrs. Convenience.
I call her Mrs. Camry with a full tank of gas.
That's funny.
No, I didn't come out there, but I heard it was a good show, a great show.
And where are the upcoming dates? What's next?
Oh,
what you got? What you got, Chris?
Bro, stall
okay.
For me, bro.
Okay, so tell us about the white woman you were with, Hug.
Chris make it.
I know.
He's a damn Republican.
Let's push this one right here. The House of Laughs in Wilmington, Delaware, Saturday, August 20th. We need to sell this joint out because it's Delaware. We don't ever come to Delaware. We only drive through Delaware, but we're going to stop in Delaware. Yeah, so get your tickets to see us at the House of Laughs in Delaware. Huggy Lowdown, Chris Paul, August 20th. 2 shows.
All right. House of Laughs.
Houseoflaughs.com. That's LAFFS.
Chris, you remember the racist security guard at the hotel followed us up to our floor?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Terrible. Yeah, I remember that.
I just thought about that. Make sure we were on our floor or staying in the hotel. Got on the elevator with us and watched us push the floor and make sure we was going to our rooms. On that
Where was that? Where were we?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Was it Texas?
Texas is terrible.
Yeah, I just probably. Texas is terrible.
We do have news that has come out of the Pentagon today. Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri has been killed in a CIA drone strike in Afghanistan. U.S. officials are saying this is the biggest blow to the militant group since the founder, Osama bin Laden, was killed by the Obama administration in 2011. Wow. One of the officials said the drone strike was carried out by the CIA in the Afghan capital of Kabul on Sunday, and the president is scheduled to make an announcement about this. I guess right about now, actually, at the White House, described it as a successful counterterrorism operation.
Wow!
So the fight against Afghan and all of those still goes on. The first Capitol rioter to stand trial has received over 7 years, 87 months, the longest sentence for a January 6th defendant so far. The judge sentenced the rioter his name is Guy Wesley Reffitt of Wiley, Texas, where folks are terrible, convicted by a federal jury in March on 5 felony accounts, including obstruction of justice, as well as entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds with a firearm. And this is the man who bragged about wanting to take Nancy Pelosi out.
Yeah,
and
he's the guy that had
up.
the zip ties.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that guy. He got a longer sentence than the brother.
No, he got 1 year longer than the brother.
Yeah.
We can't do what they do. That's
right.
my name of my new book. We can't do what they do.
The Department of Justice had asked that he be sentenced to 15 years in prison. Prosecutors also asked a federal court judge to apply a terrorism enhancement to this. The judge in the case turned down the request, saying that there had been multiple other defendants that they chose not to pursue the terrorism enhancement, but 87 months, so 7 years and some change he's getting as a result of his actions, including the zip ties and the gun.
That time you start sticking time on their ass, they'll get unracist.
Okay,
real fast,
okay.
Fast. Sybil, I read somewhere where one of the oath keepers was testifying, and he had what's the two the poll workers from Georgia?
Oh, for the mother and daughter. Yeah,
mother and daughter. He had their names on a hit list.
Yeah,
and his lawyer testified, said it was a harmless doodle pad. The nerve.
That is crazy.
Harmless doodle pad.
That's crazy. That's absolutely bananas. I don't know what more the January 6th committee can do to bring these people to justice. And
I'll tell you what they can do. Knock on Clarence Thomas' door and ask where Jenny at. As we're below average Becky at.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But something, the Department of Justice has to get on this. I know they say they're working on it, but we need to see something come out of this. Absolutely.
Secret Service.
Oh my gosh. How crazy is that, Huggy?
And they knew about it. They'd have deleted text, try to grab phones. It's just horrible.
It's bananas. It's bananas. The flooding continues in Kentucky, and the death toll continues to rise. It's now, if it's not 40, I thought I heard 40 before we started this program. It's climbing as recovery efforts continue across several eastern Kentucky counties. This is last week's historic flooding at local and state agencies in eastern Kentucky. As I said, it killed almost 40 people, including 4 children, hundreds of Kentuckians still unaccounted for. And the governor, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, says the death toll is expected to increase over the coming days as more crews are arriving from around the country to survey the damage and search along the still swollen rivers and creeks for victims.
Wow. Praying for Kentucky, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to talk more about an entitled football player, so get ready for this. Although in this case, this makes me very angry. Deshaun Watson has been suspended for 6 games for violating the personal conduct policy in relation to the 24 women who accused him of sexual assault as the massage therapists were doing their jobs. Now he's gotten 6 game suspension, right? And the people on social media are saying that this is nothing, that and especially when you consider that one player for Atlanta was sidelined for a full season for gambling.
Yeah, he did an online parlay bet on games, and he bet on Atlanta to win, even though he wasn't playing.
He wasn't playing.
And it's not like he bet on them to lose.
Right.
That's like Pete Rose. Pete Rose never bet on the Reds to lose. I mean, then you can fix games. He bet on them to win. And they suspended him for a year, but everybody just assumed that Deshaun Watson was going to get a year at least.
Right.
But no, 6 games.
And this judge, Sue Robinson, the independent disciplinary officer, brought attention to this. And so now they have 3 days. The NFL has 3 days to make their own, I guess, appeal to the judge for a longer sentence. And I think Roger Goodell absolutely has to go for a longer sentence, don't you?
I can't think of anything that he has to do, because everything that he doesn't or does do already is so shady, and they survive every scandal. They survive every scandal. Right. You know? I mean, look at it. He treated the Washington football team owner with kid gloves.
Yeah.
He let the owners blackball Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. There are no repercussions to anything in the decision. Yeah. I mean, so what's the worst that's going to happen? All that's going to happen if he doesn't add more games to Deshaun Watson is people will be outraged on social media. That's it.
And they won't cancel their season ticket subscription. They won't, they'll keep coming to the games and supporting them.
No, I just scrolling. I just saw a video today. Deshaun Watson running out onto the practice field at their training camp, and all the fans at training camp go bananas. They went crazy. So he's got the support of Cleveland. I mean, you got the right city. The Cleveland football Browns fans are so desperate for a championship in that town.
Yeah,
it's like whatever.
Yeah. And people said, well, he sat out last season. Well, that's still no going forward. Now that he's finally done the lawsuits and I guess paid them off, he still needs to pay the price.
He wasn't suspended last season.
No, he was.
The Texans just decided to hold him, and he agreed to hold him out because they knew you weren't going to play for us ever again. Why would we put you out there to get hurt?
Right.
And then we lose all. Right. We can't do nothing with you. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody talking about the Will Smith apology and Chris Rock's response?
I can't listen to Will Smith.
So you did not listen to it at all? The 6 minute plus?
Nah. This the credibility is just I don't believe him. We don't. It's like, and we still like Will Smith, but still.
He says it's all fuzzy. I was fogged out by that point when this happened at the
fuzzy. So he can make reference to Jada's head. He can make reference to Jada's head, and Chris can't.
Right.
He said it's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he'll reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. And then that night, Chris was appearing at the Atlanta's Fox Theater. He said, if everybody claims to be a victim, then nobody will hear the real victims. Even me getting smacked by Suge Smith. A reference to obviously Suge Knight. He said, I went to work the next day. I got kids. And so he gets it. He's saying there's too much energy, too much attention given to this when there are real things for us to be concerned with in this world.
Smack the whole race. Smack the whole race out of them.
Right.
He's dating a whole nother race now, Chris.
Yeah.
But Will Smith, what he did, he was successful in completely negating an entire Oscar ceremony. Like nothing else that happens that night matters. Like who won Best Picture?
The blackest Oscar.
Right.
Who won Best Picture? I mean, I'm for real. I cannot remember right now.
I can't either. I do know that he did apologize to Questlove, who won right after that happened. Questlove for his documentary
from Philly. Philly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, his boy. He did apologize to him for taking the attention away from this really wonderful moment for Questlove and the wonderful documentary. And
so speaking of a wonderful documentary, I just saw one. Arthur Ashe.
Oh
my God. Have you seen it, Sybil?
No, I have it on my list. Really?
Please watch it.
What is it on?
I don't know.
I want to. Was it HBO Max?
Maybe HBO Max or I don't think it's on Netflix. I think it was on HBO Max. But just a wonderful, just an amazing documentary. Man.
Yeah, amazing man. Another one of those.
Amazing man.
Yeah.
Amazing man.
I love me some Arthur Ashe.
It was great, Sybil. It was great, Sybil.
That's awesome. I'm gonna start tonight. I absolutely will. I will take your advice and absolutely start tonight.
Yeah.
I started watching. I don't know how I started watching this, but it's a 6-part docuseries on Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward.
Oh
And
yeah, I heard about that.
yeah,
Is it good?
It's yeah, but it's weird. It's really weird because it's based upon an interview that they did with Paul Newman and other friends of his, but they're not using those particular the live voices of those people. They have actors impersonating those other actors or people that are interviewed about the life of.
Sound like drunk history to me.
Yeah, I thought about you with that. Yeah, absolutely. We don't know who won the $1.3 billion jackpot.
Nobody, I thought that was up in your neck of the woods.
It is in Des Plaines, Illinois. I'm not sure how close it is to your favorite town, Huggy.
Oh, Schaumburg.
Yes. Yes. But we may never know because Illinois has a rule that if you win $250,000 or more, you don't have to
just
make
200
or more.
Right.
Then you
don't have to say.
You don't have to identify yourself.
Oh, the Chicago cats are gonna find out. They're gonna find out.
I'm a Cook County baby.
Okay. All right. Let us close up and talk about entertainment. And here is where we pay tribute to the late, great Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle Nichols was born in Robbins, Illinois, right outside of Chicago.
Right outside Chicago.
Right outside the South Side. And was a woman who blazed trails. And as we talked about Bill Russell, but she did it for Black women in television and in the sciences.
She was so beautiful. Man.
She was
a beautiful woman.
Her
whole life, whole life, beautiful.
Yeah,
whole life.
Yeah. She starred, of course, as Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek, the communication specialist. And she tells the story, or she told the story.
One of my first crushes, too. So go ahead.
Is it really? Was she?
No, I think it was her or Nancy Wilson.
Well, I can see that. Yeah. And they both favor each other. Yeah.
What's the joke about Uhura? Her phasers are always set on stunning.
Nerd alert.
And I'm here for it, Chris.
I know you're here for it.
She talks about how she wasn't happy with the way things were going in the first season of Star Trek in 1966. And so she saw Dr. King at a meeting, and she told him that she was not going to return for the second season. And he told her, you have to go back. You have changed the face of television, and you have changed minds, and you have to go back. And she said that was a lightning bolt moment for her.
You have to go back. You have to go back.
I gotta keep seeing you with those short skirts on.
Little black girls.
And amongst those little Black girls that were watching, Dr. Mae Jemison, also from the South Side of Chicago, says that she saw Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek, and she decided she wanted to become a scientist.
Wow.
She went to school and told her teacher she wanted to become a scientist, and the teacher said, "Oh, you mean a nurse?" And she said, "No, I am going to be like Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek." And even Whoopi Goldberg said, watching her, I knew that there were going to be Black people in the future.
I don't know if you ever saw the pilot for Star Trek, but when the first pilot, Spock's ears were droopy. Then he saw Uhura.
And they went right up there.
But I watched the show still in reruns on like MeTV, and she is just still great to watch, and just knowing how important she was on there. Like, they were doing things, and plus they had so many episodes, and the subject matter was based on what was going on here. They talked about racism and everything. I mean, even the Nichelle Nichols and Captain Kirk had the first on-screen interracial kiss.
Yeah.
Now, Kirk went on to kiss a blue woman after that, and a green woman after that, and a purple woman. But still, he started with the sister.
Yeah, he didn't discriminate, bro.
No, he did not. He did not. But she was an incredible woman and hired by NASA to recruit people of color and women to be a part of the NASA programs, and was quite successful at it. And as I mentioned, we have those like Mae Jemison, the first Black woman to travel in space. Was brought to the whole area of space travel as a result of Lieutenant Uhura. Unfortunately, and she did work a lot. She was in a number of movies, including the Star Trek series, the movies, but also she did all of the fan. Where do they go? The fan Comic-Con and stuff. But she also was in the TV series Heroes. And so, which was a more modern day series. And unfortunately, she was working right up until her son announced in 2018 that she had developed dementia. And there were all kinds of questions about her and her future and how she was being taken care of. And even some of her former castmates like George Takei and others were concerned that she was not being taken care of very well. But her son announced her death over the weekend, Saturday night on Facebook. And so, and as we say, live long and prosper, because you did so much for us and Nichelle Nichols, and God bless you.
And they were just being who they were. Her and the entire cast, they had no idea what was going to become of Star Trek. I mean, it was canceled.
Yeah,
Star Trek was canceled in its third season.
Yeah,
and by the third season, it was. And plus, did you guys know who created Star Trek, the show? Lucy and Desi Arnaz.
That was their production.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was their production.
I did not know that, bro.
Desilu Studios. Yeah,
but the show was canceled, and then it just
because I thought I saw Fred Mertz on one of the.
You probably did.
and then in reruns, the show just picked up steam, and people grew up. Then they made the movie franchise out of it. There's been other series. They even had a black captain. What was the dude who played a man called Hawk? From Spencer for Hire. He was the captain one show. Avery Brooks was the captain.
Yep.
What about the dude that said yes?
he was never on there. Oh. But that dude was killing it. Yeah.
And her relationship with Gene Roddenberry, which preceded Star Trek, brought her to the screen for the TV show. And when I say relationship, I do mean relationship.
I know Gene Roddenberry, the
creator.
He's the creator of Star Trek.
Right.
But I saw somebody posted a video about a year ago. It was just a clip from a blaxploitation movie, an old one, and it was Nichelle Nichols. She was like some kind of female pimp, and she's cussing out the ladies, and then she smacks the hell out of one of them. I'm like, that could not be a horror.
I know. That's how great she was. She's an amazing talent. So
let us Stables word called that.
We're going to close out with Yogi's Jewel and our daily inspiration, and send our thanks to those that we have given tributes to today. When you show grace, you see mistakes as lessons, not something to be judged. And so let us go forth, guys. I've enjoyed the conversation today, and thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you again soon, everybody. Take care. Aloha.